Hey, Kathy Beatty here with Divorce Support Anonymous. It's good to be with you. It's been a while. Life has gotten a little crazy and a little busy, and I've not been here as regularly as I like to be, but I'm here now. And we're going to talk about a topic that's really important for you as you go through the trauma of divorce. So, my name is Kathy Beatty, and I've been in this work for 19 years. I worked with hundreds and hundreds of men and women going through the trauma of divorce. This is my goal right here, is to minimize the damage. How do we minimize the damage as we're going through divorce? And that's a challenge because emotions run high and there's a lot at stake. And one of the topics that I really want to talk about tonight is, you probably saw the little ticker going across there, is the apology that you never received in divorce. And I know that's true for many of you that I have worked with. The person is just incapable of giving you the divorce that you so deserve. So I was trying to decide a topic tonight, and I looked in this book, one of my books, 30 Days of Healing After Divorce, that I dearly love because it's really simply written for those who are in trauma. You don't have to do a lot of heavy studying, but it gives you one topic each day for 30 days for you just to think about. It gives you a short story, gives you some thoughts, and ask you some questions. So that was really what inspired me to do this topic tonight, was day 13, the apology you never got and the closure that you need. We are created for justice. Because we are created in the image of God, God loves justice. He wants things done right. So when things are done that are cruel and harsh and against us, it is very troubling to God. He doesn't like it when we mistreat each other. And that's especially true in the covenant relationship of marriage. But it happens in divorce. It happens all the time, where people are afraid and they're fighting their fear of abandonment, their fear of financial loss, they're wanting to hurt the other party because of something that has happened, like an affair, or maybe it's been years and years and years of abuse, emotional abuse or physical abuse or abuse in front of the kids. You know, the list goes on and on and on of the ways that we can hurt each other, and how hurtful that is, not only to our own mind and soul, but to the Spirit of God, who loves justice and loves you. So there are several things in this day 13 on the 30 days of healing that I really want to bring out before I make my 4 points here. Um, it tells a story of Sarah, who was someone who longed for that apology from her husband. He had left the family, her and the girls, and had hooked up with another woman and had started their life together. And he had not seen the children in over a month. And so all of the betrayal that happened to Sarah, Sarah needed an apology. She needed justice to happen for her. No, it didn't happen for her. And she states that he's out there living with some girl and he's clueless of the pain that he created for me and my kids. How can he just start a new life and forget about us? He hasn't seen the girls in over a month. That's painful. That's unjust. Not bad enough that he betrayed the marriage, but he's also betraying the children. And this may be a situation that you're all too familiar with. And something else I wrote in here that I really want you to hear and appreciate, and that is, some cannot admit fallibility because it triggers insecurities and shame that they carry. That is so true. Listen to that again. So the person who can't apologize to you, who can't try to make things right, may be suffering from the insecurities that they carry and the shame that they carry. So again, they're incapable of being mature enough, man or woman enough, to apologize, to make justice happen. And apologies can create justice, they can create closure for individuals going through the trauma of divorce. So this goes on to say, maybe they were blamed as a child and they determined that they would never apologize again. Perhaps they lack empathy and have narcissistic tendencies. So, where does that leave you? You may never get the apology that you so deserve. That's your work to do. That is something for you to work through with a pastor, with a therapist, with a very highly educated, informed friend. So let me just run through these 4 points. First of all, I want to just say that I'm sorry because what has happened to many of you is wrong. It is undeserved. It is cruel and it is harsh. And it is totally unfair. And I want you to realize that. I don't want you just to try to ignore it or stamp it out or deny it. I want you to acknowledge that this was wrong, that this was undeserved. Doesn't mean you were perfect. None of us were perfect in our marriages. But you didn't deserve what happened to you. It was cruel. It was harsh. And let me just say that if you were the one to create some injustice in your marriage, is an apology necessary? Now, I want you to work through this with someone before you just show up and apologize, because you may, with a very sincere heart, go to apologize and you may be victimized from it. You may be slandered, or you may not get the response that you hope for when you apologize. So I want you to think this through and think this through with someone, a pastor, again, an informed, intelligent friend, a therapist, myself as a life coach. Work through this. But is there an apology that you need to make? Did you do wrong? Did you do something the other person didn't deserve? Were you cruel? Were you harsh? Those are things to think about. But if that happened to you, I just want to say that I'm sorry. And I want you to admit and be aware of what has happened to you, not just brush it under the rug, because you can't heal from it if you don't acknowledge it and you're not aware of it. And that's point number 2. You need healing from this injustice. It is not something that you just move forward and create a new life from. You need healing from this. And that is point number 3, is allowing yourself to grieve all that was wrong, all that was done that was wrong to you. You cannot stuff it. You cannot ignore it. You cannot deny it. Not if you want to heal from it. If you want to continue on and make future mistakes, because your body knows what has happened to you, your mind knows, your spirit knows. You're only giving it truth, acknowledging truth. But this is something that needs to be grieved as well. All that has been done wrong to you. And number 4, don't wait for what you may never receive. You may never receive an apology. That does not mean that you don't need closure from what has been done to you. You do. But to seek it from a person who is incapable or unwilling, or deals with all those insecurities and shame and cannot bring themselves to be mature enough to give that apology, you cannot wait for that. Your work to do is to work through this, to grieve this, to acknowledge this, to heal from this, but not to wait for something that may never, ever come. I hope that makes sense to you. I hope it gives you hope. A few scriptures I just want to throw up here because I think they're incredibly important. Unequal weights and unequal measures are both alike an abomination to the Lord. Abomination, that's a huge word you don't hear very much. It means disgust and hatred. So inequality and injustice, God hates. Therefore, put away falsehood. Let each one of you speak the truth with his neighbor. And that certainly means in the covenant of marriage as well. The Lord is righteous. He loves justice. And he is just. And here's my favorite one. And this is the verse that is on, I have one verse with every day. And that is the verse that's on here on day 13. For the apology you never got and the closure that you need, I will restore to you the years that the swarming locust have eaten. In other words, God is saying to you, I've seen the devastation that's been done. But look at me. Look at me, God says. I'll restore. Not only restore, I'll make better than you had in the past. I have seen this in so many people's lives, mine included. There was a lot that the locust destroyed in my life. But God, who is faithful, can restore and make new beyond, I promise you, beyond your imagination. I hope this has given you hope. Let me just run through these one more time. It was wrong, undeserved, cruel, and harsh. You need healing. Allow yourself to grieve this, work through this grief with a counselor, pastor, friend, and do not wait for this apology. But instead do your own work with a life coach, with a therapist. Do your own healing. That's your work to do. Not to wait for an apology that may never come. But your work is to work on you, to work on your healing, to gain greater insight into who you are and what your new life is going to become and what God has in store for you. I will restore. God's in the restoration business, and I love that. And I hope, I pray that he uses me in that process. Hope this has been of help. If I can be of help, please reach out. I'd love to have a talk with you. My first hour, I don't charge anything for. Maybe that's all you need. But let's get this healing started. And let's not wait for an apology that may never come from someone who is incapable to give it. Thanks for watching and have a good evening. Good night.